Labor Commissioner's Office can help garment workers recover their unpaid wages.
I usually worked 11 to 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and at least 4 to 5 hours on Saturday. I sewed shirts, blouses, and dresses at a garment factory in downtown Los Angeles. I was paid per piece, but the factory owner did not pay me minimum wage or overtime.
An employee or former employee may file an individual wage claim with the California Labor Commissioner's Office to recover unpaid wages regardless of immigration status. Workers do not need a lawyer to file a claim, and the Labor Commissioner will provide an interpreter if needed. In California, garment workers have special rights that are intended to help garment workers recover unpaid wages. Garment workers with unpaid wages may file claims against the contractor who hired them, as well as the manufacturers whose garments they produced. In some cases, retailers may also be responsible for garment workers' unpaid wages. Filing a claim.
I went to the Labor Commissioner's Office in Los Angeles and asked for help with filing a wage claim. A Labor Commissioner representative sat down with me and helped me complete my claim form. She asked me about where I worked, my hours and pay, and the labels or manufacturers of the garments that I sewed.
When filing a wage claim, you may complete the form on your own and mail it to the Labor Commissioner's Office, or you may visit the office for assistance. All garment workers must be interviewed in person or by phone before the Labor Commissioner can begin investigating the claim. Gather as much information as you can to support your claim: name, address, and phone number of your employer, records or your best recollection of the days and hours you worked, including personal notes or calendars, copies of paycheck stubs, garment tags, labels, and RN numbers, car license plate number of your employer.
During the interview, I provided as much information as I could to support my claim. Since I was paid cash, I didn't have pay stubs. However, I had a calendar where I kept notes about the hours I worked and how much I was paid. And I also brought in the labels from the garments I sewed. At the end of the interview, I was told that the Deputy Labor Commissioner would be assigned to my case to conduct an investigation. Then the Labor Commissioner's Office would mail me and the defendants a notice of settlement conference, which would state the date and time of the settlement conference, which is a meeting of all the parties where we discuss the claim and possibility of settlement.
All parties should promptly inform the Labor Commissioner's Office of any address changes in writing. Settlement conference. The worker, the employer, and other defendants will receive a notice from the Labor Commissioner after the claim is filed to attend a settlement conference at the Labor Commissioner's Office. Make sure you attend any conference set by the Labor Commissioner at the date and time on the notice.
When I received the notice of settlement conference in the mail, I started preparing for the conference by reviewing my claim information, including the hours and days I worked. At the conference, the deputy explained that additional defendants were added to my claim. 2 companies that own the labels for the garments that I sewed were added as guarantors. The deputy also explained that after I filed my claim, the contractor had shut down and a new company took over the business. This new company was also added as a defendant to my claim because it could be responsible as a successor to the contractor that I worked for.
At the conference, the deputy will discuss what is being claimed by the worker and the deputy's calculation of any wages, damages, and penalties owed by the defendants if a violation of the law is found. The deputy will assist the parties by discussing the possibility of agreeing to a settlement instead of going to a hearing.
During the settlement conference, the deputy talked with me privately about the pros and cons of settling my claim and what amount I'd be willing to accept to settle my claim. At the end of the settlement conference, I was able to reach a settlement agreement with one of the guarantors, a manufacturer, but the other defendant's settlement offers were much lower than my claim amount, so I did not accept the other offers. Since there was no settlement with the other defendants, there would be a hearing for my claim with the remaining defendants. The deputy prepared a form called a complaint and reviewed it with me. This is the document that tells all the defendants what and how much I'll be claiming at the hearing.
The hearing.
To prepare for the hearing, I reviewed all of my claim information, including the hours that I worked and how much I was paid. I prepared extra copies of the documents that supported my claim for the hearing officer and defendants.
Both the worker and defendants will receive notice of the hearing date and time from the Labor Commissioner's office. Be sure to attend any hearing scheduled. If you are a worker who fails to attend your scheduled hearing, in most instances your claim will be dismissed. Defendants who fail to attend a hearing lose the opportunity to defend against the claim at the hearing. When a defendant does not appear, the hearing will still be held if the worker attends. The hearing officer will decide the case based on the evidence and credible testimony provided by the worker, other defendants, and any witnesses.
At the hearing, someone called a hearing officer from the Labor Commissioner's office sat at the front of the room. The hearing officer was like a judge. I sat down at one table facing the hearing officer. My employer, the guarantor, and successor sat at the other side of the room with his attorney.
At the hearing, the parties and any witnesses testify under oath, and all testimony is recorded. Any party who would like to show documents to support their case at the hearing must bring the documents to the hearing. Even if you have previously submitted a copy of the documents to the Labor Commissioner, you should bring the original documents, if you have them, plus 2 sets of copies for the hearing. It is the employer's legal obligation to keep an accurate record of hours and days worked by employees. If you are a worker who did not keep your own record of the hours that you worked, you can still testify about your work hours to the best of your recollection.
I worked for the contractor from 8 in the morning till 7:30 at night. I also worked Saturdays from 8 to noon. I was paid by the piece and was usually paid $400 a week in cash.
The deputy assigned to the case will also testify to explain why the guarantors and successors were added as defendants to the claim. For example, the deputy may explain that a manufacturer owned the labels of the garments sewn by the worker during the claim period, making the manufacturer a potential guarantor for the worker's unpaid wages.
During the hearing, my employer and the other defendants also testified to defend against my claims. I also had the opportunity to ask the defendants questions. After the hearing was over, the hearing officer said that he would review the evidence and send us his written decision.
Both the worker and the employer can bring a representative to the hearing, but it is not required. The representative does not need to be an attorney. If the Labor Commissioner awards unpaid wages to the worker, defendants must pay for the worker's attorney's fees. Workers may request a list of legal services organizations in order to find a representative that can assist them with the wage claim process. In addition, parties who do not speak English may request that the Labor Commissioner provide an interpreter for the hearing. Hearing decision. The hearing officer's decision will be mailed to all of the parties. If the worker is awarded unpaid wages, the defendants should pay the award amount or appeal within 10 days. If there is no appeal, but the worker is unable to collect the full amount of the award from the defendants, workers may apply to receive payment for the unpaid wages from the Garment Special Fund and may also try to collect the money through various collection methods. For more information about wage claims or other labor law enforcement efforts by the California Labor Commissioner's Office, please go to www.dir.ca.gov/DLSE. You can also contact or visit your local Labor Commissioner's office.